Hey folks, thinking about it more, I wanted to give, potential worst case scenarios here, just in case this drop does actually play out. So I mentioned in my recent video earlier today, where I started off with the Cryptillion talking to everybody. And if you haven't watched that video, go ahead and take a look. I was given reasons, different reasons why I think we might have a drop. But this one is potentially, dropped to 20K, 23K, and what I'm seeing in the charts that suggests that it's potentially a top three. I'm not saying I think it's going to happen because price doesn't care what I think. Rather, it could be a top three, not just a what if right now, unfortunately. And I really didn't anticipate this happening, but your T8 has to be nimble when charts are telling you something different. And because on the normal EMAs, price of Bitcoin simply didn't even come back to test the 21 or the 10. And that is not common, not even in a bear market. I mean, and because this hasn't happened, look, beginning of bear, this is 2017. Beginning of last bear market, came down here, came up, back up to test the 10, came down, quickly test the 10, came down, quickly test the 10, in the 21. I mean, even that 2013 drop, even this 2013 drop, came way below the 10, came back above, went below the 10, came back and actually recovered very nicely. And we haven't even seen retest of the 20 and 21. And so what is making me kind of scared here is there's only one time in Bitcoin history that I can find, maybe two, that this has happened. And that's right before the 2017 into 2018 drop right here, folks. It's not looking very good right now. I'm kind of thinking Bitcoin might come down to 25 to hit that weekly 89. It looks like it's really wanting to target that, unfortunately, just as it targeted it here. Although during this drop, it was already on the 89 and went lower. However, a lot of the things that I'm seeing right now are really similar to this section here, this drop. So let me show you this. First off, even though the normal EMAs look, it's a different structure. If I go to my short-term EMA ribbons, and again, for new viewers, I developed these and I guess released them to all of crypto YouTube, and you can officially now find them on the top 3 most watched crypto YouTube channels on YouTube. After I guess I didn't not identify them, but I gave them to crypto YouTube, I guess, and I guess they're pretty helpful, and it makes really good visuals, which we're going to use here. So this is the weekly time frame on Bitcoin. Okay, what I'm seeing in terms of similarities of that last drop is Bitcoin is not just accumulating under, but it looks like it's getting rejected with pressure down from this bottom line. And what I mean by pressure down is these wicks of the weekly, it's like the bulls tried and then the bears beat them down. It looks like pressure's down. And the only other time that I can find that Bitcoin's done anything similar is right here. This wick is big pressure down, pressure down. That had a little pressure up though. And there are more similarities than this. So structurally with the ribbons, it looks a lot like that. I don't think this happened. Let's see here. I guess this actually, honestly, this could be what's about ready to happen. which this essentially follows the Wyckoff pattern in terms of the scare down before a big rip up. So what could happen is we do make lower lows on Bitcoin, maybe 25K, and then you just get a massive move up in the same week. Like monster fake outs. Obviously that was a failed rally, but that would be very tradable. So I guess it has happened twice. One turned into a monster rally, and the other one turned into a monster, the capitulation, essentially. So I guess there are only two times where Bitcoin has, done this and this under the, really had pressure down here at the bottom. This kind of acts pretty similar too, but it still made a lower low here. I don't know. So one other thing I'm seeing is this. So I'm going to flip to the RSI. Actually, it might be better if I go like this. Let's get rid of Stokes. Let's make RSI big. All right, so maybe not that big. All right, so this is the weekly RSI on Bitcoin. Some similarities in the weekly RSI is that when Bitcoin was right here, Bitcoin's RSI was under this horizontal white line, which is kind of neutral zone, and it was unable to stay above its RSI moving average, which is the white line. And it's way under the moving average, and looks like it's unable to stay above that line as well. On Ethereum, though, before there was so Ethereum is matching up to look more like this area right here. So yeah, I mean, it really does. Look at the similarities here, folks. Look, and this would kind of go with the idea that Ethereum's lagging Bitcoin too. So this first big drop, so this is also 2017. It went down to the penultimate or second to last ribbon line in its first drop. So let's go to current. Where did it go? The same damn line. Okay, look at that. And then where did it come back up to? This is Ethereum on the weekly with the short-term ribbons. It came right up and got rejected by this top ribbon line with some pressure looking down. And if you go to current, where did it come right back up to? This top line, it looks like it's getting rejected from it with nice big wicks, pressure looking down. There are more similarities. Doesn't look good, folks. I'm not going to lie. This is, but if this is all Wyckoff, which I'll cover, actually, I'll do that now. So this, I mean, because it's all but confirmed, this is essentially what happened. But the classical Wyckoff thing, orchestration, is that to scare people out before price gets bullish, the orchestrators make people bearish by pushing price down further and just barely squeaking out a lower low past this low. So this right here would be equivalent to Bitcoin's 30K. And this right here would be potentially like Bitcoin's 25K or the weekly 89 EMA. And if it pulls Ethereum down, I mean, Ethereum looks like it's doing something like this, folks. I'm not going to lie. So in the RSI, though, right before this drop here in Ethereum, if I can zoom in a little bit more to 2017, the end of the bull run as the bear market began. So right before this happened, the RSI was right here and it was angled up. So if I can zoom in way in on this, you can see in this section, the slope was up right there. And if you see how my cursor goes straight up, that's right as it was getting rejected from that top line. Oh yeah, and what level was that at? It was right around 59. The RSI was the weekly RSI on Ethereum was 59. So once again, angled up right as it's getting rejected, and the RSI is at 61, 60-ish. So only 1.5, less than 2 off. So there are some really not that good similarities between Bitcoin looking very similar to pre-capitulation and Ethereum with the whole lagging theory appearing to look similar to this situation leading into this. Now, another similarity, unfortunately, going back to Bitcoin, is that when Bitcoin did have this drop, which I think it's kind of shaping up to look similar, it went down very close to this green origin line, which is another thing I guess I've introduced to crypto YouTube, even though it hasn't taken off as readily as the ribbons have, but and a price target to come hit this around, this in a couple weeks or so is right around 23K. And if you go to the normal weekly ribbons, that would be reminiscent of having a week come down and wick below the 89 and close at it, hitting about 23. Or getting, close to this origin line, just missing it potentially down to, Bitcoin typically doesn't revisit its previous market cycle high. It has never done that. So I kind of doubt it would go all the way to 20K. Because that weekly 89 is pretty powerful, as you can see here. I mean, it's pretty powerful. However, price here, when it did on Bitcoin go below it, and since price was so different, you have to use a measurement of the percentage. I mean, it wicked below 3.5%, 4%. So if we go here, and it closed above it, obviously, and before falling further, but if you go 4% below, what would that take this to? I mean, would that match my 23 kind of guess? 4%. Nope, it'd bring you to 24.4, 24.5. So there's a lot of stuff aligning with just a wicking below 25K. And then closing around 25K on the week. And folks, 10K move in a week for Bitcoin is not a big deal. It could happen this week. I mean, look at this. This went from 46K to 30K, so that's 16, K. And then if you look at this week, right here, this guy, that went from 59.5 to 44. So 14.5K. 10K is smaller than both of those candles. All right. Another thing is that the weekly RSI kind of looked flatliney right before this happened, right? And if you go to current, it looks pretty flatliney. Obviously not for nearly as long. I don't know. I'm not liking what I'm seeing right now, folks. But if this is an orchestrated event, and again, I do not like the word manipulation, because if I were to buy an altcoin like BPRO, spent $2,000 on it, hit market buy, I did factually by definition of the word market manipulation, I manipulated the market. Anytime you hit market buy or market sell, you manipulate the market. So I guess institutional orchestration or whale orchestration of price to essentially shake people out of the market so big players can have more Bitcoin, so you sell it to them. I mean, that could be what's happening, but regardless, this is what I don't know. It kind of looks like this lower low might be in coming potentially as soon as this week, folks. If this ends up actually playing out, it might not. I don't know if it's my top probable as I begin the video, so I don't want to scare the shit out of everybody. That's not my point. My point is to prepare the shit out of everybody. I mean, and how cool would it be to get stuff on ridiculous sale here? Especially if Bitcoin could come all the way down to, like, 23K, get close to this bottom origin line. This origin line gets stuff right, folks. I mean, it's only been broken fully once. So if Bitcoin were to swoop down here for a little bit, I mean, this historically would be like monumentally macro cycle, incredible times to buy crypto. And so this goes to say the whole glory hole thing. The glory hole might be coming. And honestly, and I think I've said in 2 videos that a sideways market is where the least amount of money is made. An up market is where a lot of money's made, but these nasty dips is where by far the most money's made, with one assumption, that the market eventually, in whatever time frame, whether it's a decade or whatever time frame that you are looking to invest and stay active in your asset, with that one assumption that it does recover, this truly is where the most money's made. Hopefully I've made that point clear mathematically and, shown all that to you. So, I see that across crypto, viewership of, interest is waning. I get that. I fully suggest, this is the time to be in it. This is where the money's made, folks, especially if we get slammed here. It would be awesome. The glory hole would be so big. And the crypto winter likely wouldn't last quite as long, because we've already revisited and bounced off essentially this origin line multiple times, and I would hope that it wouldn't last this long, because it was essentially recovering from this 4-year market cycle high. But this time we're not having a 4-year market cycle high. It's not aligning with any of it. So, and again, this might go to support further the theory that I've been throwing out on my channel, that the 4-year cycles have ended. And if you I think it's the if you haven't watched that video, you might want to. It's the thumbnail that says "Party Over," and I guess it gained pretty big steam on YouTube because other YouTubers after I released that started saying the same thing, and actually one individual went so far as to support my channel twice on his channel and asked all of his viewers, of which he has many more, to subscribe to my channel. And then it kind of caught fire across crypto YouTube, and so I don't know. It might be happening right now. We're gonna know really soon. And one more thing I've said on my channel, folks, early, like right when this dip happened, I said very clearly, if Bitcoin's going to recover, fairly quickly, and the bull run's going to continue, Bitcoin has to get back above this 10 fairly fast. Doesn't have to stay above, but it's got to peek its head above fast. And it hasn't done it. This week just started. So perhaps what happens here is this was the drop. These two are accumulation phase. This one scares people out and then pops up. Totally possible. Which, honestly, would be exactly like this guy here. And since we've already had a washout, so this candle was a washout with coronavirus, since we've already had a washout, this type of thing would probably end up being a, not necessarily a full-on dead cat bounce, but it probably wouldn't stick its landing and keep charging up. It would probably come, down a little bit and then a retrace down and then come back up, assuming it doesn't fall farther. But since we've already had this washout, this type of reaction this reaction right here would probably be pretty healthy, even though it would probably retrace back down to make some type of higher low. So this candle right here could be happening. So as a summary, that candle right there, and this candle on Bitcoin is October 21st, 2019. And then looking at the short ribbons on the weekly, what could be shaping up to happen is early November 2018. Yeah, so, a couple people mentioned, a couple traders, crypto YouTubers who do cover price action who, they called the 𝐻𝐿TCOINS thing, and, a couple of them were mentioning 30K and did get it right. I give them credit for that. And they mentioned, well, they think it's going to go down to 20K or whatever. I was thinking, yeah, but they might just be, and I mentioned this on it, and I think I was mistaken in mentioning this, now that I'm seeing price not looking so hot. I was thinking at the time, a lot of times when you get a big call right like this, you get stuck in that momentum. So if you called something right in the down position, emotionally you get tied to that, all right? And then you essentially become a perma bear, right? And that was my response to somebody's comment. And you know what? It's very, very possible that it's, sticking with the trend outside of the weekly. So the weekly trend is still up because you have not. So this low here has not been broken. So structurally, on a weekly standpoint, Bitcoin officially has made a higher low. On all other time frames, the trend is down, undeniably. So instead of my having said that about somebody becoming a permabull or a few people coming permabull, they're really just sticking with, the all time frames, but the weekly that are in the monthly. So all but the weekly and the monthly are in a downtrend, and that's not a super unsafe bet. So I could have been mistaken in that. So I want to take back one of the comments that I said, and so hopefully you don't see me as one of those YouTubers where if I, make some call and it never happens, I never mention it again. No, I call myself out, like when I get something wrong. Just like in my last video I did today, I essentially apologize. I kind of failed you guys on this. I didn't see it, right? So, I'm not one of those people who's just trying to push a channel for revenue's sake and act like I'm, the most amazing out there, and unfallible or anything like that. Rather, because that's not fair to even myself or you guys, because when I learn from my mistakes of missing something and I cover that, that's honestly, I think in trading, that's the best way to learn, is learn what didn't work. What did I do wrong? Repeat. And as long as you have good memory or write down all the times you missed something and were wrong, and you build your TA off of that instead of when I was right. Honest. Okay, let me summarize this thought. If you only learned and studied and analyzed all the times you were wrong as opposed to the times you were right, you would likely learn more and become a better trader than if you only analyzed all the times you were right, which is where I think a lot of YouTubers, in not covering the times they miss something or whatever, when they do that, I think they're failing not just themselves but their viewers because of the statement I just said. Now, obviously, a blend of both perhaps is most optimal, but if you had to choose one or the other, I'm almost certain that learning from your mistakes would make you a better trader if you only could choose one. And I think the YouTube audience, not just the audience, the YouTube creatorship, or it's just the average YouTube creator only covers what they get right. And as a viewer of YouTube crypto, I really want you all to be aware of that's going on. And, I'm not saying don't watch other channels or anything like that, because that'd be very bad advice. I do recommend, even looking at pattern traders, because there are a lot of pattern traders out there. So I don't recommend against watching other folks who fall into that trap, but rather be mindful of it and be aware of it, because it's pretty rampant. But there are a lot of people out there who are very fair, but most of them are not. And I typically only watch the people who are true to themselves. And it's usually when you can see people come down on themselves, or get mad at themselves, or just critique their mistakes. If you see that, like, that might be a good channel to hold on to, and spend less of your time investment on other channels who only say, this is what I predicted, this is what as I predicted. Like, if somebody says as I predicted every video, I mean, I'm not picking on one person who says that. That's just a cliche phrase. So there's one of the biggest YouTubers out there, that's just his catchphrase, and he does it jokingly mostly, I think. He does add humor, so I'm definitely not picking on that individual by any means. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's brand. But anybody who just constantly only revisits, I guess, looping back to that same thought, like everything he or she did right, you might want to spend your time a little elsewhere and find other sources of information. So I wanted to leave you with that thought. This is a big potential bearish moment. And if it does play out, folks, I'm telling you, although it sucks, with the unrealized losses, if you are holding longer term positions, to see them lose 80-90% of their value, I totally get it if you hadn't gotten out of it, or you didn't take profits early enough. But if you're holding some tether, and some or some capital set aside outside of crypto, and you could catch price action of alts, small alts or big alts, anything, when Bitcoin is close to this origin line, in the 23K level, 25K level, like it would be life-changing the next run up. I'm telling you, life-changing. So, don't fall within the camp that, viewership of YouTube and crypto YouTube is waning. Don't fall into that. I would maintain that viewership should be increasing, because people should be interested in buying low so they can sell high. But just everybody fucking loves buying tops. I don't get it. I don't get it. Actually, I do get it, because they hear their friends making money, they want to join in, and that's when it's too late, right? So just like this time. So that's what I got for you. Your timification today was a little bit different. But hopefully you liked my starting off last video with the t-shirt talking. But yep, we will see y'all later. Don't forget to hit thumbs up, and if you're new and you like this content, subscribe. But if you do subscribe and you're new to the channel, let me know whether you want to be a cryptillion, which means you're this person, you're this creature, or a crypto crackhead. And I don't have shirts for that yet, but those pronouns are both gender neutral and gender fluid. We'll see you next time.